Welcome to April's PU Monthly Report. Here we have the latest updates from Star Citizen's global development teams, including art, engines, vehicles, locations, and more. Let's start off with AI. In April, the AI content team continued to refine behaviors, improve animations, and develop new features for the PU and Squadron 42. This involved further work on the sleep and bed relaxation behaviors, which received improvement animations. These also polished various leisure animations that allow characters to watch TV and use the mobi-glass on bunk beds. Various AI blackout animations for janitorial tasks were created, such as bracing, placing, and using the bucket and mop. AI content also made significant progress on janitor workflow, with design and animation working closely together. The AI content added variations to the trolley artwork. Moving away from the white box version, further expansion was planned too. They currently are looking to prevent trolleys from popping and improve box placement in the hangar for more realistic and less robotic feel. The AI Tech team. Last month, AI Tech progressed with navigation and movement system features. They also completed tasks for the navigation cost area modifier, which will mark specific areas for increase and decrease the cost of a path that go through them. This will influence which paths NPCs or ground vehicles choose, alongside polishing and providing feedback on the feature, a way for entity tags to influence cost areas when implemented. For example, a location with fire will have a high cost for a normal NPC to ensure they avoid it. However, the same area will have a lower cost for NPCs wearing fire protection. Work also began on ground vehicle collision avoidance, which involved updating the system to support both vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-NPC avoidance. This required unifying how agents are separated. Previously, they were separated by agent types, medium characters, large vehicles, and etc. Now, all agent types with different avoidances, radiuses, and rules are processed together, provided they are in the same navigation volume. AI Tech updated behaviors and tactical point system requests relating to transit. They are also cleaning up and optimizing transit in the movement system, which involves updating and the pause movement functionality logic used when running navigation link logic. Now it will pause the movement request at that moment and allow follow requests will be preceded. On the AI tool side, improvements and optimizations were made to the usable coordinator, and team also extended the debug AI tool, most notably adding a visualizer for testing tactical point system requests. Features team for the AI. The vehicle features team completed the new fighter combat AI flow design and can now play against NPCs with a reasonably variety of behaviors. They recently moved on to testing and tweaking, though they'll continue to further modify these behaviors on various character traits. For example, making them more aggressive or conscious, which it results in visible differences in NPC behavior. This will be the AI vehicle features focus for the next coming months. Time was also spent improving ship spline following. This involved implementing new algorithms for calculating a ship's speed alongside the spline to prevent it from flying off. They also began experimenting with the procedural generated splines features, which enable ships to fly around reasonably detailed geography without colliding with anything. This will be useful for various features, including the ship recall feature mentioned in last month's report. Animation continued discussing their creatures, continued creating a matrix showing a skeleton class they think should exist and how the creatures could use them. AI characters. Last month, the AI character art team completed the Frontier Toxic and Desert Environmental Wear outfits, the Duster Faction's common outfits, and the Frontier Light helmet. Alongside this, character concept art prepared handoff sheets for the Headhunters gang and the Dusters outfits, and began exploring an upcoming subscriber item. Ships. Art ships. Last month, the EI Vehicle Content team completed the final art pass on all new vehicles, and the LODO art pass began on one of its variants. Another new ship fit past the white box stage. This is nearing completion and will move to the next production stage once the upcoming review is completed. This team wrapped up on the RSI Lynx rover, while another upcoming ground vehicle progressed through the gray box stage. The LOD pass on the ARC-U SUV was completed. Relating to this, a supporting pass on tractor beams will begin, which includes retrofitting the new vehicle with the tractor beam onto existing supported ships. This also involves ensuring that all valid components can be removed using the FPS tractor beam. A component bay pass continued on the Miss Freelancer, which progressed to the LOD 0 and final arts phase, and the Crusader A1 Spirit continued through the LODO phase, passing the gray box review gate. Additionally, the C1 cargo variant entered the gray box stage. In the US, gray box on an upcoming vehicle was completed. Gray box on the Opera Santoki progressed, and with several areas being redesigned and fleshed out, including the rail system within the glass canopy. The team also created several iterations of the seat and settled on a design with the highlights the OPI's use of Xeon anti-gravity technology. In addition, they progressed on the new dashboard to further push the use of alien tech. On to community updates. The community team supported the Alpha 3.18.1 and new 3.18.2 releases, as well as the recent Free Fly event. Preparations are in full swing for the upcoming Alien Week and will work to continue with the new player hub. The team is also working with numerous improvements for the community hub, many of which have been highly requested, and more info will be shared soon. April also saw kickoff of this year's Star Citizen Tour. For the first time, members and communities visit Phoenix, Arizona in the US, with a follow-up another meeting up in Paris further later on. Alright, let's move forward to engines. Besides support for the ongoing patch release, core engine team ironed out tech developed over the last few months, readying it to be integrated into the main developing stream. This includes testing the new P4K format, which will speed up the game startup. That'll be great. When QA is finished, the engine team will begin integrating it into the main development stream and enable it with other development departments. The new internal code build system, Star Build, is in its final stages and have Linux completion enabled. Afterwards, the team will start to roll out this internally. For memory management, the engine team will continue to develop an internal tool for better analyze memory usage, and later reduce the memory usage of the game. For the Gen 12 renderer, the team ported the last remaining legacy renderer passes to the API. They also began deleting the no longer needed legacy code. Improvements to the streaming systems began too. First, the team implemented logic to update their per instance streaming data, which will leave the code less to maintain. Additionally, they began moving more streaming logics away from the main thread to the backwards workers. This affects frame time and stream objects in much faster. Work was also done on the generic shape system, with the current focus on the editor to follow the designers and to set up multiple sub-segments. To improve entity errors, significant code work was done to ensure constant and non-duplicate enter and leave events are sent in all cases. The entity lifetime system will also be updated to allow the designers to specify areas with different rules. For example, adding aggressive cleanups to areas while gameplay is important, like hangars. Various bugs fixes and optimizations were also completed too. The physics team added a wrench to support the rope system, which allows them to switch between fixed and pulley attachments. For the Alpha 3.18 release and beyond, work went into managing the memory of physics objects. Geometry parts are now assigned a unique ID to enable them to be queried by name. As a side effect, this puts more requirements on debug names, which will make them more expressive and globally unique. Additionally, the individual physical collection of geometry parts can now be disabled. Improvements were also made to the physically based wheeled vehicle on how they contact on hard surfaces. A new specialized ABB tree was introduced for use with the specific sign distance field, which favors a fast tree generation speed and costs of lower slowing culling codes. Lastly, various bug fixes and optimizations were done, as always. Okay, so now features on Arena Commander. During April, the Arena Commander feature team focused on Alpha 3.18.x release support and finalized planning for the rest of the quarter. The engineering team supported the code rework for the VMA loadout customization menu. This will enable it to work better alongside new spawning technologies, including with persistent entity streaming. Analyzing work was also completed, including adding support for features coming later this year. Finally, for engineering, several new game modes filters were added for the front end, were created to help players find the modes they want from the new game mode selection window. Arena Commander's design team finished 2 versions of the reworked default link track, which were successfully playtested. Okay, moving on to characters and weapons features. In April, featured team began adding EVA fuel to actor loadout. When implemented, players will use fuel as their acceleration or deceleration while free roaming in zero gravity. If the fuel runs out, they can use their oxygen supply as low-grade emergency supplements to get them to safety. However, jumping from surface to surface using the new zero-G traversal system will not use fuel, making it a viable option for players to travel without thrusters or that when they're low on fuel. The multi-tool tractor beam can also be used to navigate without gravity too. The team also worked on flak ammunition. This generates a single projectile that on explosion breaks into additional projectiles that fire in random directions. Part of this includes implementing the option to add a proximity trigger to any projectile. Okay, so gameplay features. Last month, the EU-based team progressed with the mining update and tractor beams detach attach feature, which are targeted for release in Alpha 3.19. I definitely had some work with that. Salvage for development of munching feature began. That's a good one, which with the first prototype finished in internal iteration. For the refinery, the first blockout for the UI screen was created, and the gameplay beats of various refining modes were discussed. The team now has a clear understanding of what the different deliverables will look like and how the actual gameplay will feel. In the US, the design team implemented a halls for the Invictus launch week. This was done using new functionality from the USPU team, which not only reduces the setup time but also eliminates the possibility of significant number of bugs historically encountered during the event. In April, the team refactored on how in-game ship prices and insurance, expedition fees, and times were calculated. This process is now automated based on the ship's stats and characteristics, and will continue to evolve as the amount of data factored into the price calculations are increased. As a result of redistribution mining resources, the team completed their initial pass on refineries. This will change how efficiently each location refinery specific ores based on the abundance of the mineable resource within that region. Along with this, they're currently rebalancing the selling prices of redefined resources at the admin and trade development division offices to account for these new distributions. Alright, so let's move on to the mission features team. To add greater variety to in-game ship combat, the missions features team began adding all ships to the enemy spawn pool. We used the tool to pit all ships against each other 1,000 times to determine a difficulty progression, the missions features team said. Work also continued on salvage missions with the attention given to missions where salvage is used to restore valuable ships for profit. Development continued on the package extraction, data heist, and contingent retrieval missions. Various ship interiors were also marked up ready for combat. On the code side, many much needed fixes were added, while work was done on players defending their ships is almost complete and will soon begin testing. Alright. Graphics, FX, and programming planning tech. Last month, the graphics team worked towards enhancing the game's realism, functionality, and develop workflow with a range of long-awaited features and upgrades. For example, streaming locally completed skin message is now available, allowing for much quicker reloading and replication of these release builds. The editor also allowed for new HUD features that indicates what resources will be completed. Water volume fine-tuning began on planets, specifically with atmospheric and fog volumes. These integrations are part of the Q2 water deliverables, which also include water ripple simulations in the bodies of water. A series of performance and compatibility improvements were made to the core renderer. These include the removements of some legacy CPU to GPU buffer management synchronizations, which could also occasionally cause hangs into the NVIDIA driver system. A lot of other tech improvements as well. We have some in-game branding from the Montreal team. We have some things here from lighting. The lighting team progressed with core work on the lighting caves, which will be added to the PU's new existing caves. Progress also continued on Ruin Station, which is in Pyro, along smaller tasks. So other than that, I mean, we got some upgrades from the narrative team and for online services. That's about it. That's the April monthly report, released in May. If you want, I will also link a full version of it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the verse. Peace.